Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Geprc Cygnet3 Pro. Now, the reason that I'm checking this guy out is I reviewed the non-pro version and it really is one of the favourite copters that I own, and a lot of you guys agreed with me because that review has got a lot of views. Now, they are quite pricey, but they are super high quality. I even liked it so much that I asked Banggood if they could give me my own personalized coupon for it, and they have. So I'll link that in the below, and that is for both models. However, there are only 10 coupons available for each model, so if you are interested in either of these, then be quick and you will get 10% off. So when they said there's a pro version coming out, I said yes to it straight away without even looking at the specifications. However, I was really surprised to see that there is not much difference between the two. So there's only 5 GBP difference in the price, and then we just have the motors that are different. So they are bigger motors. They are Geprc branded, and they are a 1507 3600 kV with a naked bottom, and we've got a silicon wire here. And we have also got a slightly thicker arm on the frame, and it took me a while to notice this because the frames look identical, but the mounting holes for the motors on the Pro are further apart, so the arms have to be slightly thicker, so you can probably just about see that. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. So we've got the split Mini 2 up the front with the M12 lens, which they switched out without telling anybody. Then we have got the stable stack, which they call it. So they are 20 amp BL Heli S D-Shot 600 capable ESCs, and then we've got an F4 flight controller, and above we've got a VTX, which is switchable from tramp protocol up to 200 milliwatt. And this is where I made the mistake, really. This one here, I chose the R9M version, so the long range version, but 200 milliwatts on the VTX isn't really going to get you the range that the R9M can get you. So the receiver, by the way, is the R9MM, so it's connected to F port, and all of that was set up on this one. And at the time, the firmware was just getting started, so it bound straight away and I had no problems with it. This guy, though, I really struggled to get it to bind because there are so many different versions of the firmware and mismatches, and they've taken some of the firmwares away from the FrSky website. It took me an entire day to get this to bind. So my advice would be, if you are interested in these guys, then go for the XM Plus version, because you're not going to be able to do long range with it anyways, certainly not super long range, and I think it's cheaper as well with that version, so it's more complicated now, I think, with this R9 system, and I was a little bit disappointed about that. But yeah, both of them, same receiver as well, same stack. One thing I did notice though is that the pagoda antenna is just slightly longer on the Pro version than the non-Pro version, and of course the props are different. So these are the Avan 3-inch minis, because these have a different mounting system as well. So we've got two 1.5mm hex screws, and then of course we have got the usual nut for the bigger size motors. Now, the propellers that come with the Pro are Geprc's own 3042, and I thought that was doing it a bit of an injustice, seeing as really the only change we have here is the power. So if you would be interested in this guy, then really you're going to want to put the most powerful thrust props on. So I've actually switched out the props to the Gemfan Flash 3052s, and that's hopefully going to mean that we're going to get maximum thrust out of this guy. Now, because of the different motor sizes, these guys are aiming at having different batteries. They are both 4S capable. However, I found that the best battery combination for the non-Pro version was a GMB 650 mAh 4S, and it weighed 219 grams with this, so under that magic 250 gram figure. However, if you were to use this battery with this guy, then I think you would get too much voltage sag and you would lose performance. So I think a 850 milliamp 4S battery is going to do it justice. And it does weigh 270 grams with that battery. Of course, you can fly it with this battery. I mean, Freestyle isn't all about speed. And even with a 650 milliamp battery on the Pro version, it weighs 252 grams. So it's really on the line there. I guess you could use a smaller antenna to try and get that weight down. But really, this guy needs a bigger battery so that it can provide enough amps for these bigger motors, and of course the propellers that even with the stock propellers are going to be drawing more amps than these guys, which I think are a 3024. As for Betaflight, they both have an identical version flash to it, and the setup is identical as well, so I'll link to the video that I did on the non-Pro version because I went through Betaflight. There are just a couple of changes though. The first one being the PIDs, which makes sense because it's a heavier copter, and also in the ports tab, for some reason the tramp protocol wasn't selected on the UART, so I had to enable that so that it could do its smart audio. And it also had external RSSI selected, so I couldn't get the RSSI working at first. So that's in the configuration page. You turn that off, and then you can go into your receiver tab and then select AUX 12, I think it came flashed with, so you get the RSSI. But if you don't unselect that external RSSI setting, then in the receiver tab, every time you try to change the RSSI to an AUX channel, when you save and reboot, it will go back to being disabled. But as I say, the frame is pretty much the same other than the width of the arms. We've got this aluminium at the front and the back, which protects the camera nicely. We've also got some LEDs at the back there, which are connected to the DIN, so you can control those. And we've got a low ESR capacitor on this side and a buzzer on this side, so no need for D-shot commands for a lost model alarm either. So let's see what else you get in the box. I already mentioned the propellers, and we've got two sets in there. And I already mentioned the Pagoda antenna, which is actually SMA, if you are interested in that, because I know that's important to some people if you want to swap out your antenna. And then we've got this bag of stuff here, so let's check out what we've got. So we've got two straps for our battery. We are also given a silicon mat as well, but with the non-Pro version you were given two of those, and I think there's only one in this package, so either they gave me two by accident with this one, or you actually get less with this one. Anyways, let's see what else you get. So we've got these foam pads. I'm not sure what you need them for because we've already got a battery mat there. Maybe, I don't know, for underneath as landing pads, I don't know. And then we've got a load of spare screws, so that's cool. we have got some JST connectors and a servo connector, so I guess that is for the plug and fly version. So yeah, you can have it without a receiver. And then we've got a spare straw and these spare ends here for how the R9mm is mounted, and these things fly off, so yeah, I just take these off really. Although, to be fair, they have survived on this guy. I think I heated them up and they stuck on a little bit better, but yeah, we've got some spares of those. And we've also got a spanner as well this time, because we have got these types of nuts rather than a hex screw. So you got a Allen key in the package, but yeah, pretty much the same stuff. And we've also got the instruction manual for the FrSky R9mm receiver. It came flashed with the FCC version of the firmware. It's really difficult to know what version is flashed to the receiver because you have no idea. So I had to flash the EU version anyways, and as I mentioned, it was an absolute pain this time because there are so many mismatches of firmwares for the R9 system. They really need to sort that out, I think. And if any of you guys have got some recommendations for the best firmware match for both receiver and module, then put some info in the comments because I've been struggling with this one. We've also got some Geprc stickers if you're into stickers. We've got the RunCam card that just tells you to download the manual, and then we've got a frequency table which you don't really need because, as I say, it uses the tramp protocol. You just need to enable it. Okay, let's go for a quick line of sight with this guy just to get a feel for it. This is a GMB 850 milliamp battery, and you can see those lights flashing at the back there. Let's go for a punch with it. You know, surprisingly, it's not that aggressive. I thought it would be. Let's flick it into acro. Seems nice and smooth. You can hear these props sort of whistling almost. Strange, not heard that sound before. So yeah, the stock tune with a bigger battery was getting oscillations, so I turned the D down a little bit, but it was only very slight. It was almost there. Of course, you know, they are recommending all sorts of different sizes of battery, but you have to change the PIDs every time you change the battery, especially at this size. But yeah, surprisingly, it doesn't have as much oomph as I was expecting. And it's not particularly heavy. So there you go. Now, I usually do these line of sight flights for freestyle copters because freestyle isn't really about speed, I guess. However, seeing as really the only thing that has changed between the Pro version and the non-Pro version is the motors, I think I'm gonna have to compare the speed of the two. So let's bring this guy in and do just that. So starting off with the non-Pro version, because it's already bound and ready to fly from my previous review. So it's early in the morning and I'm taking advantage of the sun, so let's see what speed it does. So 87 mile per hour. There's a little bit of a wobble there. Did you see that? Now, I don't think that was the copter. I think that was me on the sticks. Because when I reviewed this guy, it didn't get any prop wash oscillations, and to get smooth freestyle you have to be smooth on the sticks, so I think that was me. 85 mile per hour. This thing is incredibly fast for a freestyle model, and as I say, it's not meant for speed, it's meant to be getting this nice footage, which it is getting, isn't it? And the sun is out and we don't have any jello whatsoever. So let's take a look at the DVR and the voltage sag. So just cropping into the 13s there, so not too bad. And when I reviewed this guy originally, I didn't do these speed runs and I got a 4-minute flight time. I don't think we're going to get that thrashing this thing, but yeah, you can see it says Cygnet3 there on the model name. But yeah, I absolutely love this model. It is fantastic. And funnily enough, I wasn't getting as much video noise on this particular flight. That's one problem that we have with these split style cameras, is that you get a bit of noise through the video feed, and a lot of people complain that they are pale as well. 87 mile per hour again, nearly 90 mile per hour. There are some 3-inch copters that are designed to be race copters that are just reaching that speed. So this is a top mount freestyle 3-inch lightweight model and it flies superb. I absolutely love it, and it's going to be in my favorites for a long time, I think. So yeah, but I am thrashing it here, and it does look like the battery is beginning to give in. So yeah, 81 mile per hour there. I think we are under a 3-minute flight time here, and I'm just going to do a dive down the tree and then come in for a landing. So yeah, let's take a look. So yeah, just under 3 minutes there. So this is the Pro version, and unfortunately, because I've been working all day at getting the R9 system to work, it is darker. So let's see what speed this does. 84 mile per hour and a little wobble there as well. Again though, I think that was me on the sticks. As I say, I did change the PIDs, so I'll overlay that for you because I felt like I got a better tune out of it. But yes, this one is actually a little bit slower than the lighter version. So what is its purpose? Well, I will say, you can't tell from the video. However, because it's a heavier copter, it feels like a heavier copter when you're flying it. Therefore, it feels more like a 5-inch model, whereas the non-pro version feels light, and even though it's a freestyle model, it kind of feels like a race copter, whereas this guy feels more like a freestyle copter. What I will say though is I don't think the name Pro was the right word for it, but then again, I'm trying to come up with a name myself for it and I can't. Maybe the Cygnet Beefy version or the Cygnet Heavy version. I don't know. You guys put in the comments in the below what they should have called this thing, because for me, for this to be a Pro version, they should have upgraded the VTX to maybe 600 milliwatt or something like that, so you can take advantage of the long range, because I'm not able to. By the way, it does look like the camera is a little bit fogged up, but it's not. It's just because the sun is very low on the horizon and it's challenging lighting conditions for this camera. So this is just how it performs in just slightly lower light and the sun on the horizon. when I looked back at the lens, it was squeaky clean, so you know, there's no fogging up going on or anything like that. It really is just the lighting conditions, and that's why I'm so annoyed at the R9 system, because it was a sunny day, but by the end of the day I just managed to get it into a place where I could fly it, and it started to go dark. But anyways, I got actually a slightly longer flight time with this guy, so it might do 4 minutes as well. So you can see I'm nursing it. We've got 13.9 volts there, and it says Cygnet Pro on the on-screen display. But there you go, that is my review of the Cygnet3 Pro. I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.